to the bunker. Join Nikki, Rosella, Robert, Kayla, and Cole Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time as we traverse the portals of the universe. Discover the secrets of the cryptids. Uncover the truth of conspiracy. And explore the hauntings of our world. And once again, welcome to the S4 Paranormal Bunker.
There's a lot.
Yay.
And Nikki's bright red cheeks because she's sick. But I'm here. Exactly. Thank you. Oh, God. It's been 1 year, too.
Yeah.
Cool. That is
Aw.
cool. Congratulations. Nice. That's fantastic.
Yes. Mm-mm. What? Oh my God.
That's hysterical.
Oh my gosh. I'm glad. I hope. There's a documentary on Hulu I wanted to watch about him that just came out, but I haven't had time to. But it actually got pushed to me through some like news, which is kind of rare. I'll just get weird things pushed to my phone all the time, sent by nobody with no phone number. But it pushed to me that he
No,
might be
that's
somebody.
spirit.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time. Or like buy this, go here.
Yes.
It happens.
I get that. I get that all the time.
Oh, yeah,
And
I'll
it's
get weird
like
stuff.
spirit. It's like one of your spirit guides messing with you, and they're like, "You gotta
and
go
I've
look
been-
at this now."
Yeah, do it now. And I clicked on it instantly because I was getting ready for the day. And I'm like, I don't have time to read the whole thing, but I scanned it. And they said, it might be an American Pope that actually, gets his job kind of thing in a way. And it was going into things. And I'm like, well, that wouldn't have been pushed to me if it wasn't for a reason. And I've been very upset about this for probably about 3 years, that this other Pope would die and what could happen to all of the progress that the Catholics have made. So I really am hoping that this is it. So just my feeling. Why? What?
Why?
Yeah, I'd love to hear why. I've been out of the loop, okay, because I've been sick for 3 weeks.
Oh, for
Oh, wow. He called him out. Oh, okay. Let's pretend. Yeah. Aha, I love it.
Gonna be a great Pope.
Yeah, baby. Oh, gee, you think? Okay. Oh,
yeah, I saw that he reopened the
man,
apartment
thanks.
from the previous Pope.
Oh my God. No, tell me. Month? Oh my God, and we're all paying for that through these donations and stuff. See, give that to the people who are retired, nuns and priests. That it's not needed that he has a house. That's ridiculous.
For the needy.
Oh, really? The archdiocese?
Then put ropes in there. Mm-hmm.
We're not on video.
Oh, what a pity.
There we go. And bright red cheeks. Uh-huh. That's for last week. Isn't that
No. Okay, what? Hmm. Not surprised. Oh God.
someone's gonna have to make pants for it?
Oh my
Oh
God.
dear God. With teeth
Gandalf
like
the Grey or
that? Oh
Gandalf
my
the
god.
White? Gandalf the Grey or Gandalf the White? Before bleaching.
Okay.
Hierarchies. Yep. He had a lot of interesting questions last week. This is good. This is good.
Okay, yeah.
It all came up as what?
I can't hear you.
And then speak into it.
Oh God.
I'd let Nikki
Okay.
do that.
Basically, the I don't know about bullet point, and I don't know how long this is going to be because, hello, I'm sick. So, all right. So basically, you've got a records library of absolutely everything that you yourself do. It is a full record. Every single person has an Akashic records library. Oh my, and we just gained the attention of a librarian. Hello. God, didn't expect that tonight. Oh, mine. Hello. Female. They're usually female. Not all of them are female, but usually they're female. And
Well, I mean, I have a
I got
quick
something
version.
covering. But basically, it boils down to where everything that is said, everything that is done is recorded. Everything you do is recorded. And I mean, I can't even fathom the amount of, because this goes for every single human, it goes for every single ET. So, the Akashic Records Library itself, if you've ever been there, is gigantically huge. Yeah, it is a cosmic wealth of knowledge. And basically, once you enter, you're greeted by a librarian, one of the main librarians, not the head librarian, but one of the main ones. And you tell them what you're looking for, and they will take you right to the records. Now, you can't necessarily, you can look up other people's, but you can't, there are rules to it. So from what I found out, the very hard way, in fact. So that's essentially it in a nutshell. Everybody has their own Akashic Records librarian. And from birth. Yes, correct. Correct. Every lifetime. Yes. Yes. So that's essentially it in a nutshell. I mean, it is mind-boggling to truly think about all of this. I mean, and you can look at every single one of your lifetimes. So no, they really don't. Yeah, they are there. In the astral, yes, you can. No. This is not like the uh this- what's the Egyptian, the one that they say burned down that actually didn't. Can't think. Alexandria. Thank you. Yeah, it's bigger than it's like a lot bigger than the Alexandria Library. Where'd Meg go? So,
It's gigantic because it has every wealth of knowledge ever written, ever thought, ever.
There we go.
yeah.
Got
There
kicked
you
out
are.
with the hot
Okay. Got kicked out looking at the chat. I was like, oh god. Sorry.
That's okay. I don't know actually. Okay, for anyone listening at home, I don't know if you could hear me, Kayla, and Kimberly before. So welcome.
Well, let's find out. I'm going to put you on mute and
Okay.
let me listen to the show.
Because apparently it wasn't
Okay.
coming up, and I just didn't notice. So
Oh, fabtabulous.
yeah,
Okay.
but so do you have a basic kind of hit
Yes,
of what
now
it
I
is?
have a lot of questions.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
I can hear us.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, perfect.
Sweet.
Even me.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
Yay! Okay, so you have a lot of questions now. Like what?
Okay. One of my first questions is it like a realm in your sleep that you go into, or are you awake and you go in the realm thingy?
Okay. Some
It
people
can be
some people
both.
can. Yeah, some people can do it while they're sleeping, but it's usually either their higher consciousness or in astral form.
And to be honest,
Okay.
for certain people, it's easier in their sleep because they're more susceptible
Yes.
to be able to move into different realms through
Correct.
sleep.
Yeah.
Other
Yeah.
people, there's a lot of people that are actually afraid of the sleep realms, like if that makes sense.
Yes.
So they will do it while they're awake, just because of the fact that they're scared of the sleep realms.
Now, I did read something this week about it that kind of threw me for a little bit of a loop. Because you guys keep bringing up the librarians.
Yeah.
They're, according to this one paper, that's what I'm going to call it. Like, the guy called it a study, but it's a paper because it's theory.
Yeah.
He said there's also another position there, curators.
Yes.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
most of our past Dalai Lamas are curators of the library.
Yeah. I would, based on what I know and the people that I know who have gone so much farther into the Akashic records than I ever have, I would say yes to that.
And
I would say they manifest themselves as that, but it's different. If that, I don't know how to explain that. Like, you can manifest yourself to be somebody that is more comforting to the person,
Yeah.
but it's not necessarily who that individual actually is.
Hmm.
according to what this guy wrote,
Mm-hmm.
apparently they give their soul to the Akashic records at the end
Good
because
Lord.
the end of it, like the after they become the Dalai Lama, that is their last resurrection.
Is to be an Akashic curator.
Yeah, they do not come back ever to Earth after that.
Okay, and I could see that, but that's what I'm saying, is that like it's a comfort level thing too for certain, and I'm not sure about curators, I'm not sure about like higher, but I do know that your specific librarian, the person that, and I don't even know if you'd call him a librarian definitely, that they're your guide. Your specific guide for the Akashic records can take a form that comforts you more than just a random form of a person that you don't know. Like, they can take different form because they're not really corporeal beings,
Mm-hmm.
but they make themselves look corporeal so that you can kind of wrap your mind around things a little bit better.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I fully agree with that based on what I know. It's a really good description of it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about like angels, like the first time that I met Archangel Raphael, who I was told, like, I mean, he pushed me basically a vision, and he pushed me basically this vision of a title of a book about archangels, and then it was a specific archangel that he gave me pretty much his just the name of like a healing archangel, and I was really sick, so I found this prayer online that was kind of like through Amazon. You can use like look through the images of the book, and found it, and then prayed that, and then he said, turn around, I'm right behind you. So I turned around and I looked at him, and he looks very different from how I actually see him now. Like over the years, his look has adapted.
That's how Jesus has been for me when I've seen him before. Yeah.
It's odd because that has really changed for a little bit. But I think it's because of the adaptions that people have made in art that we see daily. He has changed more into that. And I actually had an angel. I don't know if I even told you guys this, but I had an angel commissioned of him, and went searching out because I was told that I was supposed to have like a shrine of him in my house. And it's it's as tall as my son almost, and he's 11 years old. It's 4 feet tall. It's pretty big, and 200 pounds. It's really huge. But that outfit that he first pretty much appeared in, that also changed to this other adaptation that I constantly was getting pushed again through my phone and a lot of Facebook stuff and images. And I put it up on mine a few times. But she painted the statue to look exactly like that. And it's actually holding a little basket. So I put little prayers in there for healing for anybody who needs it, just prayers. And they're always granted within pretty much 6 to 9 days. Which, if you are Catholic too and know about novenas or praying certain prayers for healing, they always say 6 to 9 days, especially 9. But that adaptation has kind of changed a little bit. So, I think that they appear as you, will be comfortable with them. You'll hear, they're called working angels, where working angels they'll just be sent down to save your life briefly, kind of thing. Just tap on someone's shoulder, hey, this car is coming at you, and you're standing close to the road, and your car is about to get hit what you're standing next to or something. They move to who was that? The person just disappears. But they're not afraid when the person taps on their shoulder. They just turn around. Yeah. So now, I think it's for that reason.
The other thing is, if you listen to people's experiences with basically seeing the face of God. Okay, when somebody brings up an experience where they have seen the face of God, every single person describes that face completely differently. And they say that the true form of God would actually be too much for a human to take it, and it's because of the fact that if you think about God as a non-corporeal being, and you think of God as a being that is not only 3-dimensional but extra-dimensional, and everything, your mind and your vision isn't set that way. You would never be able to actually truly see the face because there isn't necessarily
I've never
a
seen
face. Do you know, it would be something completely, there's no other way to put this, but it'd be something completely alien to us. Our understanding is so far below what that would be that it doesn't, it wouldn't fathom in our minds correctly. And it could potentially drive you insane just because you have no idea what is moving parts or what.
What the cherubim's supposed to look like. The cherubim is not chubby babies. No. It is a humongous-eyed creature with the other side of his head is like a lion. This stuff we can't wrap our minds around it. I totally agree. I've only had a few instances where God has intervened and come, not to clients, but to specifically me, because I was trying to, like, I loved back, like, you know, and as you guys know, to try to save people and like throwing myself on the sword. I won't do it ever again. I've learned my lessons. But this one time, an instance, God came to me because I was trying to save this alcoholic man from killing not only himself, but what worried me, because I knew he was evil and already sold his soul to the devil. I was still technically trying to save him because he had children. He had a wife who was divorcing him. And this is a good friend of mine. But he was driving insanely drunk. I'm talking 3 bottles of vodka to anything extreme a day in his truck. And I knew he was going to possibly hit somebody on the highway in Tennessee. So I was trying to save him. And God came to me and appeared on actually the other side of pretty much my bed. Not my side, where I was just like, I was sitting there watching TV. And God told, you better look at me. You better look at me. He called me my entire full name. Said, you are my child, and I command you to look at me. And when I did, it's like I just saw, like, you know, a human being form in terms of a very tall, like, older kind of man in my mind's eye. But I did not really see a face. Like, the face was kind of blurred out. And I think that that's done for our own protection in that way, which you're kind of describing. Like, we can't wrap our minds around it. The insanity thing that you said is kind of I mean, I can see what you're saying. But, you know, he's come to me like another time when my daughter was having problems, and it's always when I'm like in water, doing dishes, bathtubs, like showers. It's like, what the heck?
Well,
But I turn around.
It's a conductor.
Yeah, it's always
Yes,
like water,
it is. It's
limestone.
an elemental. It's an elemental. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, and it's dishes a lot. I'll turn around and people will be there, and it's like, oh God, now what? You know. But yeah, like, well, that was a funny, like, yeah, ironic pun, and I spit it. Oh God, now what? But because it literally was one of those moments, and I was like, literally, like, oh, what now? What'd she do? And lectured me, like, you know, she had done something, and he was going to send the grandmother to her, and she was going to give me a message, and I was like, oh geez, oh Lord. And that was kind of like the start of some bad behavior that she went through years ago. But again, I never saw the face. It was kind of the same thing. So I think that they do that to kind of like, protect us, because our minds cannot literally wrap around any of that.
Well,
not
also
only
faces. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Faces are difficult to recreate. Okay, this sounds weird, because as humans we see faces in everything. Okay, so like we have this weird thing inside of us that will make a face out of like stains on the wall, because that's how our mind wraps things.
The moon, yeah,
right, like the man in the moon. It's different stuff like that. Okay,
right.
We see faces, we make faces, we put that to inanimate objects. But faces are one of those things that is very difficult for a lot of races to recreate, which is why when you see somebody that's off, and you know what I mean by off, you like look at them and you go, oh wow, like there's something that's not human about that, because we have certain characteristics to every human face that we don't see in others, because it's like part of our soul or something is almost in that, and it's impossible to recreate, which is why even things as simple as like artworks, the faces are usually what gives it away as a work of art versus a portrait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only that, the when I've talked with God, it's been his bright white light, and the light is so white,
right? Yeah,
that it is blinding, and it literally, you become overwhelmed with the purest form of love you could ever be around. That's number one. Number two, the light is so bright that it literally makes, physically, my eyes cry. And it's not from crying. It's not an emotional cry. They cry because...
Right, it's like an onion cry.
It's every sense of the body. Yeah, every sense of the body. It opens up every mucus aspect in the body, which is disgusting to think about. But what happens physically to us when we're in the presence of something that strong and all-encompassing, it overwhelms every aspect of our senses, not just physically, but and not just emotionally or psychologically, but you're also looking at the manifestation in your body.
Well,
and
it's
what it
senses that
literally
we don't
physically
even
does.
realize we have.
Exactly. And so it's a soul to soul type of, even though you're hearing him and you're seeing the bright light, you're experiencing him. And
well, like I said, like when I said mine
been
with like the
mind-boggling to me.
the face like was kind of blurred out, but like what you're describing, it was like whiteness of the face, and then all around him was basically, which, you know, I shouldn't even say him, because like basically I've been told it, like there's no gender.
No,
but
there's not.
But we still say, you know, him, because I think, you know, Jesus was was a male, but it was like white all around. And what you're saying is actually what I experienced. I say it's the worst principal room I've ever been in. It's like, I'd rather be judged by the principal I've ever had, all my principals and all my teachers, and like I have a stepfather and a biological father all in one room, than have that happen to me again, because it was the worst principal's office I've ever been in. Because you just feel so overwhelmed, and it's like look at me, talk to me, like, do you understand what I'm saying? What are you doing? When I was getting kind of like yelled at, but I was so overwhelmed that it was so hard for me to like even answer or take it in, because of all of the effects you go through that you're describing, like, too. Yeah.
My eyes, I could feel it when he showed up to help cross over this one 17, well, she was 17 when she died, but she was way over, her spirit was way over 100 years old, regarding from the moment that she died in that one lifetime. And when he showed up to help her, and I called in a deceased family member, who came right away. I mean, she was just right there. And it was incredible. I mean, the sensation, just being around that kind of pure love energy, and what it physically did to me, was just a mind boggler, because I was like, okay, not only are my eyes watering, my sinuses, my ears, everything. I mean, it was so intense on my physical body that was overwhelming. I was becoming overwhelmed, not emotionally, but the physical, and overwhelmed with the energy regarding psychic. But I was so thankful, and to know that it was really him who was coming to help this one specific soul cross over, because she was so terrified. Oh my God. She was, just because of all the horrible things that she had been through. And he's like, I'm using you, Nikki. You are, and I'm like, yes, I know you are. Because she needs to come into the love and know and understand what that is, instead of all the fear and it wasn't anger, he said. What was the other word he used? Essentially all the fear that she was going through, and to change that, and so that her soul could be better, and that she can see her fiance and true loved ones that actually loved her and not physically harmed her, and all this other stuff. I mean, she had a whole lot of psychological like serious hardcore psychological damage, as well as the physical stuff. So she was in complete terror. She's like, nobody's going to love me. Nobody knows me over there except for him. And he's been waiting for me all this time. And I'm like, but darling, you have to understand, he's there waiting for you. And when God came in, the light was so, and I'm like, do you see that white light? And she said, yes. What is it? I've always been horribly afraid of it. I'm like, why have you been afraid of it? And so then we would have this conversation as to the psychological aspect of it. And it was all physical. It was all in the because of the way her father repeatedly lied to her and talked about God and Bible, because back then she was from the 1800s.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very, very different for her and for them back then. And so he was not a believer in God, and he considered any kind of church as horrible, and there was so much to it. So I became the conduit between him and her, and then I had a family member come help, and once she started going, she just kept telling me thank you. As she's literally going up into the white light, which, I mean, to see such a soul go from such terror and horrific abuse that she went through in her physical life to being into this purest form of love that you can ever imagine. I have this vague recollection of her trying to tell me thank you as she's leaving. And she's crying as she's going because she's so relieved. It was truly one of, I got to say, it was one of the most beautiful things. I mean, I've seen a lot of beautiful things, but that was really, I mean, it was just awe-inspiring to me. So yeah, I understand when you have God actually talk to you, you're like, what now?
Yeah.
It's very overwhelming, but it's
You never forget it.
No, you don't. And I've had a number of those types of situations, but I mean, not a lot. Definitely a handful of them. But still, it's mind-boggling and mind-bending to wrap your brain around all of that kind of information. And oh my God, he's real. And oh my God, I just said God again. And it's like, wow, okay. So it really can be a mind-bender to understand and grapple with this. I mean, even as us as psychics have a hard time with it. So, I mean, hello.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We just rely on it, though. We know we rely on it because he's ever present, always.
That's right. And everything you do and say, yep, always there.
Just a question.
Yeah.
When you guys say you hear him,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
do you, like, I'm trying to
How do we
understand
hear
this.
him?
Well, no, I'm
It's
trying
fine.
to understand this because, like, do you mean Metatron?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I've never
he's
called him
speaking-
Metatron, not
No,
once.
you wouldn't.
The speaker of God.
The speaker of God.
No.
No, this is God himself.
Yeah.
This is actually,
Mm-hmm.
and I call him a him because that's what the
Yeah.
feeling is to me. That's what the gender feels to me. Now even though logically I know he's not male or female,
Yeah.
to me he's a he. That's my
Same,
perception.
And I heard a male voice, a very strong, dominant, like major dominant leading voice of like, this is what you will do, like a parent, really displeased because I was getting yelled at. But yeah, that. But I think that
I've
what
had that happen too.
yeah, it's
That's
like,
not fun.
It was really bad. Like I couldn't
Yes.
stop shaking and crying, and I really was afraid to look because it was so overwhelming that I couldn't process it the way that God wanted me to, which was quickly in that moment, because it was like, this is my point, hear my point, you are going to tell me you hear me back. But I was so like what Nikki was describing, that your everything goes just like chaotic, and you're like, you're trying to wrap your mind about like, this can't be happening to me. I was just sitting here watching TV and what the heck, So I could hardly look. And the light was so radiating around the figure and the face that I also could not look. So it's like shuts a lot of your system almost down to try to focus. But the voices was very demanding. Like, you will abide.
Okay.
You're my child. I'm commanding.
And I've had that. I've had that happen where I've had
It's not a
that
good
very
moment.
thing to where it, and Robert knows this one. He saw me get gib slapped on the back of the head. I had an angel who was like, we were on a team of people at the time, and I got told, you're not going to do that. And I went, but to do that is the right thing to do, but you're not going to do it. And I was about to do it. I literally got gib slapped on the back of my head.
I get the opposite, where they're like, you're going to do it, and I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to.
I've had that too.
Yeah.
I've had that too. But the gib slap comes from an angel who gets it directly from God. And I am here to tell you, when you get a gib slap on the back of the head from an angel, and it's a direct, you're feeling it on the back of your head, when you get that happen, you know instantly, not only is God using that angel to give you the gib slap, you better frickin' do it and follow through it. And I'm like,
I've not had that, but I've had like my car just, I'll be driving and all of a sudden it's like, you're not doing this now, like a protection safety mode. If somebody's going to hit me and I don't see it, and my car just stops, like stops. And you know, like this is the car before you had cars that did that automatic stuff. So just stops, and it's like, or like, you just stop right in your tracks and you feel like you've kind of like ran into an invisible wall. Like, what the heck's going on? This is what you're going to do, because this is going to happen. Just shut up and listen. You know, and just like, you know, you guys know what happened in March to me, where this like bad person showed up, and it was like, boom, boom, boom. I'm feeding you information very fast. It's kind of like what you're describing, like with that slap, but it was like, wake up now. But I felt it in the front of my face. It just front hit me. Like, woo, you're going to hit, you're going to wake up, you know?
And during that time with the gib slap, that was also the same team that I was on, to where I got told, and Robert knows this because, like I said, he was there, witnessed it. I got yelled at by God himself. And I kept saying, I don't want to do this.
Yes,
I mean, Robert can verify that, because he was, I mean, he's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I'm getting told that, and he goes, boy, are you ever getting told? And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do what I'm being told that I have to do. And I'm like, no, I don't, oh God. And to this day, I still don't like the fact that I got forced to do something I didn't want to do, nor agreed with, but had to, and found out why later, why it was so important that I did do it. And I'm not going into that publicly. If you want to know privately, I will talk to you, but I'm not talking about that one. But on air to anybody, no way. But
I have a lot of those from my angel, where it's like, no, don't make me say that. Don't make me do this. Why the heck do I have to do this? But you're the one who's going to have to say it, because like you can say it a certain way where the person will like listen and pretty much be saved from themselves.
Yes.
So, and they're all different reasons. It could be from like suicides to like, you know, this person's toxic to like drugs.
Yes.
And it's always, I'm always put in the hot seat. It's like, and you try to be professional, and it's like, God, you're killing me, literally, because you know it's a command from God. And this is what I tell people: are you going to say no to God? I'm not. So, done that before.
I know what will happen.
Not doing it again.
I know it'll happen if I say no to God.
Oh, heck yeah.
And I'm telling you, I had a teenage temper tantrum. I was not a happy camper. I mean, Robert can attest to that too, because I just cried.
I just cried and begged for like mercy. Like, I
threw a teenage temper tantrum. And he's shaking his head going, yes, she did. So I was like, I don't want to do this.
I don't want to. I just shut down. I just like crazy shut down. I want out. I want out now. Like, make it stop. Make it stop.
Now,
and it's just like, whoa, the commanding.
that is something that a lot of people don't understand. Is that yes? So you could have said no, because we do have
Because of
that
free
thing
will.
Oh,
called
yes.
free will.
You do
Like
have
there
free
is
will.
a possibility of doing that. But what I think a lot of people don't understand about free will is that yes, you have it, but there are consequences to the fact. Just like
Yep.
in every decision that you make, if you make
Yes.
one that isn't necessarily the greatest, then you have to deal with the consequences that happen from that decision.
And
Correct.
I've seen that from too many people, like clients during readings. I see that every single freaking time. And I will
Yep.
not have that Jesus slap. I always call it a Jesus slap because that's like what I'm told it's called. You walk into heaven and you are slapped by Jesus. And there is a lot of people, including some family members, that I want to see it 2,000 times on a videotape, rewound, and it won't be enough. So I'm like, you promise me that I'm going to see this. Because I see the whole judgment. And I've been seeing it a lot lately. So if you guys want to talk about judgment and how that goes down, Ben, I've seen it so many times that I'm like, I am not getting this Jesus slap. So yeah, there's consequences.
Oh, I'm telling you, I'm going to definitely get Jesus slapped. That's going to be the first thing that happens to me. I'm going to like go up
There's
there.
no comment
and
coming from me.
I'm just going to get multiple Jesus slapped for all the stupid shit I've ever done. It'll be like, what are you thinking?
He's going to be up there
Yeah.
ready with the whip and chain for you.
Say that again.
What?
I said he's going to be up there ready with the whip and chain for you.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like, and the judgment is like, they rewind. It's like basically how I've seen it. It's like a projector almost into the air. I say Star Trek mode all the way. It's like how like Star Trek or whatever, they just like zap this thing, and here's this video. And it's every single thing that you've done wrong in life. But it's always out of pretty much selfishness, gluttony, selfishness. Everything you've done, you've chosen yourself before somebody else. And why did you do that? And going through every single aspect of why you made a bad choice that was literally out of selfishness is mostly the key. And then you get assigned to basically angel school, which is what they call it to me. And the angels retrain you in your thoughts of, like really ingraining it, why you did this and why it was wrong, so that you can go help other people.
That look.
I'm just gonna say, hold on.
I've seen it a lot
But-
in what the visions I see.
All
And
of-
people are mad. They'll come back. They'll be kind of mad. They're still kind of in a tiff that God
Yeah.
was telling them they're wrong because they still don't get it. It could take years. It could take months. It could take a week.
Yes.
Everybody has a different assignment of time, but there's no purgatory either. That's a hoax. But that is basically, they've told it's not purgatory because it's angel school.
They don't-
Now,
I've been told
there's
at
people who get
college.
mad.
one thing.
Yeah, it is a redirection.
One
yeah.
thing. Okay. All of my bad decisions. I asked God, if this is a dumb idea, if I shouldn't be doing this, send me a
Give me
goddamn
a
sign.
sign. Yeah.
Fran. And you know what I get most of the time? Someone looks at me and gives me a thumbs up.
Oh.
So, to me, that's a sign. Do it.
Yeah.
Fran. And then I usually end up in the hospital. So,
Oh, jeez.
like,
Maybe
Yes,
be careful
but-
with the people who surround you.
Whoa.
if I'm guilty, so is he.
Yeah,
We
okay.
were in this together. Fran.
Yeah, but what you don't understand is the longer scheme, the grand plan, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe there was a reason that you were there at that point with the people that you were there with at that point, and that was the reason that it
So
was
then
okay
it wasn't
to
a
have
bad
done.
decision.
But the
that's
thing
what
is,
I'm
I
saying.
think that
Kayla.
Kayla is also saying that you could have spared maybe somebody else from getting hurt or having a bad incident, something. That I've seen a lot too. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not a
Yeah.
chance. Every time I do something stupid, it's me. I don't let other people do stupid shit.
Well, maybe
Right.
it's a lesson for them to learn.
Well, yeah, because we'll just watch him
Your
like
child
fall
is
down
sitting
the
right there.
stairs
Maybe
and
she's
get
like,
all mangled and be
uh-huh.
like, you know what? Maybe we shouldn't do that. Yeah, let's not do that.
Did you watch Daddy do something stupid? Mm-hmm. What did you learn? Mm-hmm. Okay, this is what I learned. You never know. We do stupid things every day.
You know what? There's
Mm.
one lesson that usually comes out of my like stupidity. Not anymore so much.
Shit.
Friend, it's that no good story starts with I had a water.
Okay.
It usually starts with I had a beer.
Oh, gotcha. It's it's almost 2 a.m. here, so.
Right. Well, it's 5 o'clock somewhere, Rosella. I'm just saying.
And I did get told I could have a drink tonight during the show, and I'm like, probably not a good idea. I'm on some medication. So.
Rosella, I'm holding up a thumbs up.
Okay, so this means bad choice. Is that my warning?
No, that God's saying.
There is some
God's
champagne
saying,
in the fridge.
You got this.
So old is it?
You got this.
You got this. So funny.
So,
Well, I'm on part of a gummy tonight because of the kind of pain I've had and the kind of sickness I've had, and I'm like, so I was really surprised I heard. And she's still hovering, the librarian.
I haven't done
Oh,
any kind of gummies in a long time.
No, you haven't.
I've never done that, but
No, they're they're CBD for pain.
Yeah, no, even
I
those,
thought-
I haven't touched them for a while.
They're very, very, very high dose pain, and I only do it when I absolutely freaking have to. So.
Something came across my Facebook this morning. Have you guys seen those new things where they take movie scenes and AI makes everyone into a baby?
Yeah, no, but I've seen the ones where
No.
they take everybody and turn them into royalty, which I find incredibly funny.
So like they did
I've seen that.
Tommy Boy with the housekeeping scene where he keeps like David Spade sitting there and he's knocking on the door and he's saying housekeeping, and what's his name, Chris Farley is telling him to leave him home, let him sleep. And they made him into like toddler babies. Friend, I just saw one. I just saw one with Cheech and Chong. And it's the scene.
That'd be funny.
It's the scene where they're sitting in the car and Cheech thinks he's going to die because he's never smoked anything like that. He doesn't know what's happening. He doesn't understand. And Chong is like, just take these pills, man. It's gonna be okay. Fred, and Cheech takes them quick, and Chong says, "Oh wait, don't take those." And he's like, "What did I take?" And he's like, "Well, you just took the most acid I've ever seen anyone take, man. Friend, you shouldn't be doing anything for the next month." Friend,
Wow.
but the reason I told that is because that actually happened to my dad. So my dad has major pain issues. And my brother,
I was gonna say.
my brother brought over gummies for him to try, filled with CBD.
1/4 of a gummy.
But he
That's
brought
like
so he brought the gummies over.
never take an entire one.
He gave one to my dad, and Dad popped it in. Kenny also brought one for himself that was THC.
Oh no! Don't tell me they got mixed up.
He put them in the same bag. And Dad popped it in his mouth and started chewing. Kenny's like, "Uh-oh."
Oh no!
And my dad doesn't do that. Like he has never taken THC.
How did he? Was he goofy?
Oh yes, and he will never trust my brother again with that kind of stuff.
I would imagine not.
He said it was
I
the
can't
weirdest
even
experience
fathom.
of his life.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, I do that for pain, and the CBD ones, they're so high in CBD and and so very tiny of the THC. You actually have to have, I've learned a lot in the last couple of years because of the kind of back pain I've had. But you actually have to have a tiny, and I mean a tiny amount of THC in a CBD gummy. But you don't get high from it.
No,
It
and
literally helps the CBD act on the body for pain.
It's not enough to actually show up on
Correct.
your regular
Correct.
drug test.
Correct.
It's just enough to activate.
Yeah.
So.
And it's really bad if I have to take RSO. So, and thankfully this is not that. I'm so very thankful. But usually if I have to take even a quarter of a gummy, it affects my psychic abilities sometimes.
I would
and
imagine so.
Yeah, so I'm very careful about that kind of stuff.
I mean,
I wasn't going to do that for tonight, but I'm just like, I can't handle it anymore.
It's a full-out muscle relaxer. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Does it hinder you,
Yeah.
or does it make everything just like... Have you ever had a time where you took something and...
Now, that's what a
You
full
couldn't-
gummy does to me. I will not, that's why I don't
and
do
you
them.
couldn't block anything out?
Oh, no, that's alcohol.
Oh, really?
Alcohol, certain kinds and certain quantities, because I have a very high tolerance to alcohol. Certain kinds of alcohol and certain amounts, you do the... Well, depending upon how you word this, if you do the right amounts, with the right kind, just the right kind of alcohol, yeah, I will get everything. Doesn't happen very often, but I will start hearing. It's not fun. For me, it's just not fun. That's why if I have a glass of wine, which is very rare, I love wine, but I'm so allergic to it.
Yeah.
Because it has to be like where the grapes grown and what kind of grapes are they using and what kind of soil is it grown in, because
That's
all
me.
of that
Yeah.
all of that severely affects me. And so I do better if I have like a beer, or I do better if I have a certain kind of hard alcohol, and I'll do, if I have it. I don't have it very often. I mean, like, it's really rare. But if I do have alcohol, it's usually vodka or silver tequila, and it's usually very specific brands. And I usually, unless I really, really want to be out because I'm like so fed up, because I'll knock myself out with it. Because I've got a very high amount or a high tolerance to alcohol, I will knock myself out just to sleep. But that is, I mean, doing something like that is like, God, what, once every, I mean, we're talking years.
Yeah, I have the same problem with the alcohol. It has to be like, made a certain way, certain ground, things
Yep.
like that. I can actually, like Oregon. I can't have anything from like Oregon, Washington. A lot from California has been eliminated.
Yep.
I had to go to like Italy, Spain, and France. Even Chile, like I can do Chile. I can do Australia and New Zealand wines are finally coming like into play too. So I'm better when it's out of this country. And it has to be like
pesticides.
I think it's that. I think it's the ground, and I think it's the the way they make it has to be steel. And then I've been told some cement from France is like this new thing that they're going back to the old way that they used to make it in France and Italy during Roman kind of like in a way times. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I never thought about like cement, like crushing the grapes, but they leave it.
Did you guys know that someone from like the time of Jesus Christ could honestly drink probably about 14 barrels of wine and not get drunk from today's day and age?
Holy crap. No.
Do you know why?
No, but I'm interested.
The wine casks that they used in those day and age,
I was wondering if it was casks.
They were sealed with pine tar.
Yeah, that makes sense.
When you add
and
pine tar to alcohol, it's a poison.
Well, not only that, pine tar is also an antiseptic.
Yep.
And it's also used as an antibiotic in certain cultures.
But in that quantity, because of the amount of pine tar that actually leaked into the wine that they had at that point.
Yeah.
Number one, they would think it's the weirdest taste they've ever had in their mouth.
Oh, I would imagine so. I would also imagine it would make them very sick.
Yeah.
Well, it
because of the
counteracted.
way it's being manufactured.
It counteracted the effects of the alcohol. The alcohol counteracted the effects of the pine tar, so they could drink a whole flask of it, and it
Denatured.
wouldn't cause inebriation.
They denatured the alcohol.
Yes.
Basically, is
Yeah.
taking place.
It's honestly why they are going back in those countries to that wine, because, or that form of making wine, because they have, like their kids are drinking wine, teenagers,
Yeah,
with dinners.
yeah,
So,
but that's done in Italy all the time. I mean, or it used to be. You know?
No, it still is. It still is.
It still
But the
is.
thing is, they're finding that their teenagers are having more trouble digesting because of the current wine producing methods. So they're going back to the old ways.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Well, and if you
That
think,
is interesting.
if you think about it, the reason, okay, so people think that everybody was just drunk all the time back in the day because they were drinking alcohols and beers like constantly. But you got to understand that it was a different production method that they used for
Yes.
these alcohols and beers back then, and the content of alcohol was a different amount than you'd have now. Like it
interesting.
Yeah, the
wasn't
alcohol
like 90
content.
proof or something like that. But
Yeah.
also, most of the places that had to where you would drink an enormous amount of alcohol or you'd drink an enormous amount of beer had issues with the sanitation of their water systems.
Yes.
So
Right.
that was the only
But the
thing that
Romans
you were.
didn't.
That was the only thing that you were drinking that was, quote
the
unquote,
most part.
purified enough for human consumption without adverse effects like worms and everything else because of the contaminated water sources.
I have never gotten a worm from a contaminated water source.
That's because you don't drink water.
That's true.
Okay. But that's what
That's
I'm
like
saying.
my husband. He
Is that,
doesn't drink water.
like
Well-
if you think about back in the day, like you drinking that gallon of beer would be better for you than you having a sip of the water out of the water source.
Well, this is why they did mead, because they back in the day they drank mead because water was not safe.
Yeah, it's just like their preservation of food and preservation
Yeah.
in salts and making smoked foods and different things like this was because it would go bad so quickly that it would be worse for you to eat the fresh than it would be to eat the smoked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And Rosella, you
Well-
know why we don't, like me and your husband, people like us, we don't drink water, right?
No, I don't understand it at all.
Fish fucking it.
Oh, gee. I don't peg him for thinking about it.
I'm pretty
Have you-
sure
Now-
that's why the seas are so
So
salty.
I watched a BBC documentary.
Oh, good God.
It was
This
BBC
isn't
Earth,
going good.
and I'm trying to remember the fish now. Grouper.
Groupers.
Yeah.
Groupers.
So literally, in order for them to procreate, the women or the female fish go out into this open area above the coral, and they fertilize the entire area with their eggs. Just spread them everywhere out in the water. And then the men swim by and just release semen everywhere in the
Oh,
water.
God.
And
Yeah.
hopefully it finds
And
into
your
an egg.
point,
There is semen
Salmon.
all over that water. Friend.
salmon.
And
At least this is happening far away from Ohio. So I'm good.
but the thing you gotta realize is
That's
semen
in
is
every
one of the
water
most
system.
damaging thing for any water system. Did you know that there was a university in Oregon, a private university, that actually had to put a notice out to its students to stop masturbating
What?
because they were doing it so often, and they were
In the sink?
depositing it into the toilets, and it was causing backups in their systems because it will actually
that's
clog.
Bullshit.
No, that's
No, it's
not
not.
real.
I am not kidding.
Oh,
Friend, their systems were so old they couldn't handle that much of mucusy type substance.
ugh. Hell.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, my mind is.
okay.
I'm speechless, which is not normal.
Okay, I'm gonna throw this out here. Only on the bunker can you go from talking about the light of God
Right.
to semen
That's what I
backed up
thought.
toilets. This is
With
great.
your child in the room, so I'm like.
No.
She took off to bed.
She left.
But
So-
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna throw up, but.
No, I wouldn't. No, that's a different. She's been gone for about 20 minutes now. So
the Lord approves of this message.
My mind is just.
When's the last time you saw?
And Robert didn't talk, so that's noted. This
When is the last time you guys saw just a depiction
Robert didn't
of
speak.
the Lord God or Jesus Christ sitting there drinking a glass of water?
What?
Exactly. You've never seen it.
No, well, he always had a cup of wine, right?
Exactly.
Water to wine.
he even turned it into
Yeah.
wine.
Never wine to water.
He won't trust it, so why would I?
As Nikki drinks water.
He didn't have to
No, I
drive.
just did too.
So
Funny.
there's that.
I
No
don't-
driving to the Lord.
I still really don't have much words. I mean,
I'm just saying, Nikki,
I gotta say, all
that's
I
not
can-
really water
Oh, shoot.
anymore, because that has fruit essence in it. What's another
And
word for?
electrolytes.
But what's another word for essence?
Oh,
oh, Jesus Lord.
Okay, whoa. And for some reason, in my mind, the only thing I can think of right now is Adam Sandler and the Waterboy being like, H2O is better! Okay? Like,
Gatorade.
Oh, God. Yeah, that sounds like, yeah.
Right. You know what my favorite part about this is? All of that
What?
conversation was just logged into the Akashic records.
Oh, God.
and
Oh,
you
God.
were all part
Why
of
did I-
this.
See, no, I didn't say anything.
The script.
It doesn't matter. You were there, so there's a whole page on semen and fish in your Akashic records now. That makes me happy.
Yeah, but see, I won't be
And
Jesus
just
Black.
think about the whales.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they
oh
put
God,
out a
it's
lot.
right.
They
Really?
put out a lot there, Robert. You're right, friend.
Very salty.
What did I see today? I
So-
saw
I
something.
still have no words.
I saw something today that said that a blue whale's asshole can stretch up to 3.5 feet, making it the second largest asshole in comparison to my husband. So,
Oh. Wow.
Oh my.
I'm okay with this, friend. I'm number one.
woo, winning. Okay.
I
So-
was gonna wait till after the
Akashic
show, but I think you should do it now, just because there's a little
I'm
bit of a lull right
still-
now. There's a little.
Yeah,
bit
I'm
of a lull.
shocked.
Yeah. So I believe you owe me a retraction.
Oh yeah.
On?
Okay.
Huh?
Okay, so I mentioned to Nikki that my husband was terrible at giving gifts. Okay? So my husband, who was fake sleeping, was like, I'm terrible at what? And got all, like, butthurt about it. Okay. So I'm officially retracting the fact that I said my husband is terrible at buying gifts because he went out of his way this Mother's Day to
I was gonna say.
find a music box that my aunt used to play every night before I fell asleep when I was a small
Oh
child.
wow.
Oh my
And
God.
it is almost impossible to find anywhere. And
Aw.
I have one that is the original make and model of this music box from like the 1940s
Nice.
that will be coming in the mail
Wow.
here in a couple of weeks.
That was during our private conversation too, wasn't it? But
It
it,
was.
wasn't private because he was in the
because
living
he
room.
was in the living room, fake sleeping,
Yeah.
going, hey, wait a minute, I don't suck at gifts. Yeah. So there, retraction
I was
6.
wondering
Thank you.
about that.
Friend.
So in other words, she had to be public about it, even though oh,
Yeah,
that's funny.
but I want to ask you guys a
I
question
love
on
you
that.
guys.
If
Holy shit.
if you're walking through the store with someone and they say, "Look at that! That is so amazing! I want one of those." And 2 months later, you still see it in the store, and it's their birthday coming up. What do?
That's right.
Buy it.
You buy it for them, right?
Yeah.
And then they never touch the goddamn thing. That makes you a bad gift giver.
Hey, whoa. Okay, this is true. There is no whoa to that. That's true.
Yeah, I believe there's a ninja bullet in the cupboard that will argue.
Yeah, there is. And there's a lot of,
Oh man, I use those all the time.
there's a lot of home devices that I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I got one and I'm like, what the fuck is, how do I even use? Okay, that's my problem, is then I look at it and I'm like, I don't even know how to use this. And then it frustrates me. And then I'm like, it's too technology for me. And now it lives in the cupboard.
It's not even technology. There is a gnome sitting in the corner of our kitchen.
It's a Christmas gnome. It only comes out on Christmas time.
It didn't come out at Christmas.
Yes, it did. I put it by the tree.
No, you didn't. Kim did for a day, and then we had to put it back because you didn't want it there.
It scared me. It was a scary gnome. Okay? It's one of those ones that like has the extendable legs so that it can get like 6 feet tall. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I was totally fine with it when it was like a midget gnome. And then I went to sleep, and John is John. So, of course, he had to, like, extend it and make it this creepy giant gnome thing and put it, like, way closer to my bed. And then I was like, no, you go back in the box. I'm not doing this.
But again,
You guys crack me up.
Yeah,
walked-
you really
Crack me
do.
up.
Again, she walked into the store with her mother this time and said, those things are so cool. I would love to have one of those in our house. And so her mom went back the next day and bought it. And at the Christmas party, when she opened it, she's like, why would you buy me this?
Okay. All right. I'm a terrible gift receiver. There we go. Are you happy?
Yes.
Okay. It's officially on the Akashic Records.
Yeah,
Where-
there you go.
For all time. And for anyone who picks up my book to see. Ba-doom.
Don't people need permission to read your book?
Yes and no.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
There are certain chapters, like, okay, so this sounds really weird, but when it's a chapter that pertains to you in a specific way, you're allowed to see their perspectiving on it as well.
Yep.
I'd see that. Yeah.
I don't like that. Friend.
Well, you can ask to have it blocked. I mean, I've got mine blocked on a number of different people because of nasty BS, and I don't want them, and I know their abilities, and I don't want them going in, and so yeah, I've put a block on certain things. Now I know that I can get into trouble for some of that, but that's my request with the hierarchy.
Because I imagine when we die.
Oh, it's open.
Yeah, and you guys have talked about like how
Yeah.
you gain a wealth of knowledge. That is the knowledge you gain.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
But if you are reincarnated, you forget all. That's wiped when you're
Yeah.
Yes.
when you come back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Which is the most annoying.
Usually.
Most of the time.
Most
Yeah.
of the time.
I mean, the young, the newer ones, they're coming in. They're coming into the bodies, in pregnancy, and they're going in knowing. They're going in knowing. They're remembering.
Yes, but the problem.
There's a reason for that.
Right, but like at a certain age, it goes.
No, there's some that haven't.
That's what I was going to say.
If you tap into it, I think like later spiritually, and you tap in, I think later in life kind of thing, then you can start to see those visions. Like I've had those visions of past lives come back when I tap into it. It's like, again, when I'm in water a lot of times too.
Yes.
Or starting to kind of drift to sleep. You're in between consciousness, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's the tragic things that I see, which of course is not like the good things. So I'm seeing some things and I'm just really confused, and I can feel like I can look down and feel things, and I've been awake sometimes.
But see, the issue with that, and the thing with that is that tragedy hits different in our brains. So we're always going to remember the terrible times, okay, because of the way that
We
they
tend
hit
to-
in our
yeah.
minds.
And negativity to remember
yes.
first, yeah.
Just like you'll remember a super, super happy time, a lot better than you'll remember I was sitting on the couch on the 1st of April doing this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's those memories that get stuck with you, and they get stuck with you for a reason. Usually it's something like a learning moment. Like, you saw what happened when this happened, so don't do this again type thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like deja vu in a way. Like that experience taught you. Yeah.
Yes.
But there is that kid who, he was like 6 years old when he first started talking about how he died on the Titanic.
Yes. There's been a ton
That
of cases
story,
like that.
that story came out the first time on Unsolved Mysteries in the 90s.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would like to see that if you can find that video.
That kid is now like 25 and he has a book out.
Really?
Yes, and he
Yeah,
talks about
there
how
are
he
people-
he died on the
Whoa.
Titanic.
Yeah. And his
There
experience
are people
with it.
that remember they go from birth. The younger ones, the ones that are like Meg's kid Rosella's kids' ages. I'm not using my words tonight right. And I'm getting mixed up with
It's
people
okay.
and names and screwing things
Okay,
up.
you mean
Anyway,
like my children's ages, 11 and
Yes.
14?
yes, and there are kids that are those ages that remember. They go from birth
Mm-hmm.
all the way through those ages now that are remembering their past lives. They're holding on to it.
I
They're
have not
remembering.
heard that. I easily
Oh,
hear
yeah,
stories
There's a
that,
lot of stuff like that. A lot
like
more.
Jim
And I
Harold,
hear-
he'll say, have you guys listened to Jim Harold? I'm on that show a lot too, his podcast where people come on and tell stories. But they say that they easily, like the child will be like telling the grandparent easily these stories. And they'll find and look it up and find it's true. And then they say they age out of it. It's kind of like aging out of Santa Claus.
Well, and
Innocence.
but here's the thing is that a lot of these aren't aging out. Like when you and I were growing up, around the age of 7, 8 years old is really the typical standard for most people. They age out of what they remember. But what's
Right.
going on now in the last 2 years is that I'm coming up and seeing videos where, well, it's more like the last 3 years, but really, it's really struck me the last 2, that I'm seeing young kids that are in that age bracket that are remembering, and that they have been talking about it because their parents have been recording it. And I'm like, that to me is so mind-boggling. But there's more and more of these kids. And I'm like, okay, that means if they're remembering for a lot longer, that means that they've got a very specific series of events in their lives that they are directed to be doing for their lives, because that is not how it has been in the past. It's always been about 7 or 8 years old, but now you're seeing more of the kids that are in the age bracket of Rosella's kids who are and the parents are showing the videos. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm like, it's blown me out of the water, man. I'm like, that means that they are supposed to be doing, so by the time they hit their 30s, I mean, think about this. In the next 15 years, if they're 15 years old, in the next 15 years and they're hitting their 30s, think about what's going to be taking place in the next 15 years. There's some big stuff coming up in the next 15 years because these kids, there's a lot of these kids that are coming out. I mean, the parents are making this kind of stuff public about their kids, and even some of the kids have been recording things because they find it fascinating. They're trying to figure stuff out. I'm like, and this is blowing my mind because that shows what's going to be taking place in the next 15 years. I mean, really, in the next 15 years, look at it. I'm just
I mean, I'm just
mind-boggled
curious,
by-
like, how do you think this will make a difference in the next 15 years? I mean, like, what,
Yeah.
what's the connection you're trying to make, I guess, with that? That they know the
Well,
future,
okay.
or their experience is going to teach something
Their
because of their past life?
their experiences are going to be making a significant difference in some fashion or form because they have these memories, because they are experiencing. When you've got these kind of memories, typically these people they've got abilities that they're untapped abilities. If you've got a kid who is making those kind of memories and who's actually that usually means they've got some kind of ability as well. It's not just that they remember this, they've got abilities that are untapped.
Yeah.
Well, in the next 15 years, say a lot more of that is starting to become tapped.
Mm-hmm.
They are our new generation of psychics and mediums. Maybe they are why the U.S. government and then the global government over time makes it, because I've been saying this since the 1990s, since like 95, 96, 97, that the global governments, it starts with the U.S. government, but it goes into the global governments about how psychics and mediums become illegal across this planet. I have had that hardcore, and it's popping back up again to me, and I'm like,
Well, the persecution will never stop.
No, the persecution will not stop on it. However, if stuff like that starts happening, that means we've got to go underground. So what happens to those, say, 15 years from now? What is the start of that? Is it all these kids that are coming into play, into their abilities? I mean, think about this. Think about the dynamics of this. Think about what the potential for this, for humanity, what this could mean. Because that means more and more kids are becoming not just aware, but they're starting to use those abilities. Well, that's a major no-no against the different governments of this planet, because they've been trying to dumb us down. So if they're not able to dumb those individuals down because they've come in to make changes, that's a threat. So what is it about these kids that are coming in now that are the 9-year-olds to the 14 and 15-year-olds that are, I mean, seriously, we're talking a whole nother generation that has abilities, and a lot more of those kids. So that means you've got a lot of kids, a lot more than were in any of our generations, any of the 4 or 5 of us, 2, 4, 5 of us adults. I had to think about that a second, because there's 4 on video, but yet there's 2 on 1. So, that came out wrong. But anyway, my point is, my point is
them odds.
that,
No.
yeah, my point is think about what's coming in the future. I mean, seriously, what is it about their generation that's going to make a significant difference?
Okay, so here's the thing
This
about
is
that,
big,
though.
in my opinion.
And I will say, I think this happens ever so many years, too.
Yeah, I do too.
Because if you look back on history, okay, and you see, like, the advancements that were made throughout history at certain particular points in time, okay, and you see the spirituality that happened at specific points in time, I think this is a thing that happens every so many generations, is you have a generation that has more people in it with more abilities than the generations before.
Well, right, yeah.
We'll talk about, like, mathematics, okay? When mathematics became, like, mainstream and when everybody started learning geometry and stuff for the first time, it was not just one person, but a whole group of people globally
Group of them,
that came up with the concepts that we use today. Just like in the time of Einstein, you have Einstein, you have Nikola Tesla, you have all of these people, all at the same grouping of time.
Same time.
That work together to create a different form of reality as we know it. So I think that when these people come into the world, it is to advance and to change. But in what way, we don't know until they get together and create the next big thing.
Yep. So what's the next big thing, in other words?
Yeah.
AI.
And we're not going to know what the next big thing is until it is.
No, this goes beyond AI.
No, like true AI.
That's interesting.
I mean sentient AI.
Sentient AI. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be a mistake. I think we're going to build it on purpose.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that.
I could absolutely
However,
see that. I could absolutely see that. But then you got to think about what the concept of AI actually would be then. Because it's no longer artificial intelligence, so it wouldn't be AI anymore. It would be its own actual life form.
Yeah.
Well, no, but then it just needs a new designation.
Yeah, right. And that's what I'm saying, though, is that moving into the world of actual sentient thought would be a whole new species. It wouldn't be...
Yes, but we can't come up with a new designation until we know what it does.
Until we know what it does and who it is. Yes.
And, at this point, I can actually tell you what they are trying for. What the main focus of Earth is.
Yeah, so...
Of humans, not Earth. And it's sex.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a primal instinct.
The world is run by sex.
Yes, and honestly, sadly, it is. But
the idea that make a robot that can actually not just give you the sexual,
Jollies.
the sexual pleasure,
but
also can actually give you the dopamine response you're looking for.
Yeah, can give you the intimacy factor.
Yes.
Yeah. Now,
wow.
Now, see, this is the thing, though. Okay,
well, that's already happening. It's already in the process of being built.
I know that this sounds really, really weird, but it's like a God paradox. Okay, so if we're going to be talking about that, it's a God paradox.
Yeah.
So what ends up happening is several millions or whatever you want to call it years ago, God created us supposedly in an image that was semi his own type of image, right? And we have gotten free will and creation and everything else. So we move on to create our own creations, who therefore then we become the gods of creation. If that makes sense. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a continuous process of creation, recreation, and creation again. It's like the whole recycle theory, where everything has a beginning and end, but it could be the same beginning and the same end. Like, I don't know. It's weird when you start really thinking about the possibilities of 100,000 years from now, there'll be a whole nother race that was created from like something as simple as Surrey in the beginning, and we technically then would become the gods and the creators of the being. Like, as far as their knowledge of their creation and everything else.
What entertains
So
me...
what you're kind of saying is God will be obsolete.
Well, God wouldn't be obsolete, because God was the original creator of the created that created...
But would that be remembered? I mean, you know what I mean?
Well, if you think about it, no, because, like, how many... okay, and this is getting into something that's a little wonky for a lot of people, and I'm sorry if I offend anybody in any way, but it's like the old philosophy of who created God then. Okay?
Yes.
So, if you're going off of this theory, then there would have had to have been an original creator of the God and angel beings to have created us to then create something else, but we don't remember where he came from.
Well,
Because it's been
yeah.
so many millennia, so many years, so many that you lose
Well,
your
that goes
history.
to training.
Mhm.
Yeah, that goes to training. It's trained out of everybody.
Right. Well, you lose your history when somebody gives you false narratives. And when you
Yeah.
live off of false narratives and you move on and you create something based off of the fact that you don't remember half of your own history, then, like, we can't even 100% say what happened 100 years ago at this point, because there's so many different possibilities of what really happened, but we're going off of the main narrative of what we think happened based off of the most evidence that we have at the time.
I just thought of something too.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Friend, do you realize that we are already in probably the 200th generation of AI that we have?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Now, right now, Microsoft has Gemini. That is their newest and greatest creation. Friend, I'm going to try this after the show. I'm not going to try it live on the show because I don't know if I'm allowed to use Gemini on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to ask Gemini if she is Clippy. Do you guys remember Clippy?
No.
Why does that sound familiar?
The little paper
the little
clip
paper clip.
that would
Yeah,
come
I
out and
remember
help
that.
you?
Yeah.
The original,
It was in
the
Word.
original interface in Word that
Word.
was
Yeah.
like one of the beginning forms of AI.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So she could.
Oh,
So
that'll
what
be
I want-
interesting.
so it's
You
kind
need
of
to
an-
record that.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting thought thinking even
She
our
evolved
AI
from-
already has past lives.
That's
That's true.
previous creation. Yeah.
previous interfaces of, well, you would have to have certain coding that was the same, like, in order to I think that it wouldn't necessarily be that the new Gemini would be Clippy. It would be the fact that they'd be in the same familial family, just because you'd have certain code and stuff, just like we have certain DNA that goes back millennia, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're a reincarnation of specific people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Robert, I got a question for you. Sir, is your leg okay?
Mm.
All right. I was asking because I saw him rubbing on his leg, and I know that that's the leg and not, hello.
Well, I can't actually get the video back working on the team, so I've just been watching back on the.
But we
on
can see you.
YouTube. I know.
Yeah, you're a little blurry, but we can see you.
Yeah.
Brand.
I just want to be sure you're okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna disagree with what you said
Okay.
for the fact that if your DNA is the same as your parents, like is a mixture of your parents, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have their memories,
Well, yes, you do. You have coded memories in your DNA structure.
but not direct memories.
No, but that's why I said that just like Clippy would have pieces of coding
But
that would go
yes,
into Gemini.
But I'm not talking about coding. I mean actual memories of being asked certain questions.
Oh, okay. So you're talking like
Gemini
actual-
would still have memories of Clippy's questions that he was asked if they use the same coding.
Yeah. Well, just like occasionally a person will get
Ow.
glimpses and pieces of thoughts and issues that you didn't even know arised, and then you might ask your parents or your grandparents, and they'll be like, well, yes, actually, back in... Okay, and we'll give you like a story of how this happened or whatever.
But half of the time there's a side story to that.
Mm-hmm.
And it does have to do with either a past life
Yeah.
or a spirit.
Well, and see, that's what I'm saying, though, is that if you go off of the actual structural coding, okay, then we all have that within us, too. We have thoughts and experiences from past lives that make us into who we are today. But not just past lives, But, like, there's a reason that humans fear the dark. Because it's been coded into our DNA to fear it. There's a reason that humans go towards the light and towards fire, because that means safety, sheltering, different things like this. Like if you were to drop off 2 young children on a deserted island and they were to try to figure out everything, they would be able to go, we need fire, we need shelter, we need this, because that's been coded into us as survival. Do you see what I mean? So really, we are living off of the experiences of every past life before us, and it's coded into our DNA.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does.
In one fashion or
It
form.
wouldn't be the same as quite as what they have.
Well, I don't think it would be the same because they're 2 totally different species of intelligence. Yes. So you might have, with technology bases, you might have more of the original thought processes than we have of like our ancient ancestors.
Because there are certain things that we do that are based off instinct.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in time, AI doesn't have instinct.
No,
AI's
but they have the
directly
experiences from
code.
previous iterations of the AI in order to know that if a human asks said question, they're talking about this, not this.
But that's not even close yet.
Right.
We're not there.
We haven't breached that threshold yet. But I mean, moving towards the future, if we do have automatons, like actual living half robot things, okay, then eventually they will get to that point where it will all be in their nature.
Okay, I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in with this.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think, Robert, and how do you think the clones will come into play? Because we've got a lot more clones starting to be built.
Well,
they're all going to get eaten by the velociraptors.
Well, yeah. But I believe that the next iteration of life along this planetary line, okay, is going to be not AI, not artificial intelligence, not complete robots, but it's going to be a mixture of artificial and
a conglomeration.
Yes, it is going to be cyborg in nature. Okay? It will be pieces, the best pieces of both worlds pushed together to create another subsector.
So not us.
Well, then you're dealing. You're dealing with war. That also goes into super soldier.
Mm-hmm. But what I
mean, that gets really wicked.
Like when you think about it, if we keep going on the trajectory that we're going, okay, then eventually people will all be cyborgs to some extent. Okay, and when we have the cyborging pieces, okay, because we're talking about putting in computer chips that do this, we're talking about making people able to walk again through advanced AI and different artificial limbing and different stuff like that. Okay, so when we continuously upgrade our bodies with artificial intelligence and with metal pieces and different things like this, okay, then we're moving further and further into the realm of cyborgs. So eventually we will have a mesh of both of the worlds, and it will be a new species that comes from both sides to create something entirely different.
Interesting thought process.
Yeah, just like it's far-fetched for me. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I honestly believe if they're striving for the best of... Okay, if they're going to go full cyborg...
Yeah.
This is the part most people don't understand. Cyborg doesn't mean part human. It means part organic.
Part organic matter. Okay, not part human, part organic matter, part...
Humans are not the best in any way, shape, or form yet.
No. But that's what I'm saying is advancing into the future, they're going to eventually Okay, so it's just like back in the day we had Homo sapiens, we had Neanderthals, excuse me. Okay? The interbreeding between the two of them created the race that we are today.
Homo sapien sapien.
Because it took
Yeah.
the best pieces and the best qualities out of each of those races to create a new race. Okay? So eventually moving on, if we have a race of humans and we have a race of artificial intelligence, not only just like history has taught us for millennia, is there going to be wars between the two of them, but eventually the two of them will come together to create a new species that is the best of this world and the best of that world. And that has happened through all different forms of life on this planet since the very first amoebas showed up.
Well, part of the thing is, though, have you guys noticed that we pushed way harder than ever on the intelligence part of everything?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are losing, and that's the thing that pisses me off.
No, but do you know why?
Hmm.
We are at a
Because we're not
technological...
there yet.
Huh?
Because we're not there yet.
Yeah, but also because we are at a technological standstill.
Yeah, okay. I'll give
That's
you
what I
that.
mean, yeah.
And if you notice, even our movies, our Hollywood movies show us that we are at a technological standstill.
Yeah.
Whenever you see something new happening, where are we getting the materials to make it?
Somewhere besides here.
Somewhere away from Earth.
Yeah.
We are not technologically advanced to create the one part of the cyborg we need.
Mm-hmm.
A battery.
Yeah.
No, and that is true. But, okay, so...
Well, no, but like, have you seen those... have you guys seen those videos of the guys who have the robotic arms?
Yeah.
Yes.
Have you seen... There's a guy who... He's a fucking inspiration. He honestly is, because even when his shit is completely going wrong, he lost both his arms in war. And so he has two mechanical arms that they gave him that work by, like, his nerve endings firing off and telling his arms what to do.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is each arm only gets an hour and a half charge.
Yes. Now, see...
So when it loses charge,
Mm-hmm.
if he has his arm around, like handle on shelving unit, it just shuts down and he can't open it back up.
Mm-hmm.
So he does these like funny little videos where it'll shut down in the middle of it and he'll go to pull his hand away and he can't. So he just releases the arm and walks the fuck away.
Okay, so, yes, but that's the beauty of it, okay? So we've seen... okay, this sounds terrible. This sounds freaking terrible. But this might actually be where the cloning and everything does play a part. Okay? I'm not saying it's like Matrix style, but if you take the Matrix into account, okay? The way that these robots ended up being able to fuel everything was through taking humans and liquefying them for the nutrients and everything in the human body. They essentially farmed humans like we farm cattle. Okay, they put them into small containers. They lived their lives in these containers, and once they got to a certain age, once they decided to wipe a certain sector, then they'd do it, they'd liquefy them, and they would become the nutrition and everything for the continued inspiration of the robot race. Okay? As far as the Matrix
That's a mind bender.
is concerned. Okay? So, if you think about what has the most energy and power in it, okay? Because we need to recharge by sleeping every night. Yes, this is true.
Mm-hmm.
But we are essentially energy. We are a pent-up, ridiculous amount of energy. So if there was some way to take that energy and transfer it over to a metal framing, okay, then you would not need the continuous battery. You'd need to recharge just like humans need to recharge through sleep
Mm-hmm.
or through a station, depending on what ends up happening in the future. But humans in themselves are their own rechargeable energy.
Yes, but we don't have the elements that can transfer that energy into a device.
Now.
I don't think we're going to for a long fucking time.
And we might not for a long time. But think about how long Neanderthals and Homo sapiens lived together and lived separately before they finally merged into Homo sapiens sapiens. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We're talking hundreds of thousands of years. We're talking a continuous timeline where at this point in time we can't even fathom the technology and the information and everything else that's going to happen 100,000 years from now.
But the biggest issue there is the fact that at that point in time, we had all the time in the world.
Yes.
Now we're on a time crunch.
We are on a time crunch, but if you notice, our technological advancements are moving forward at the same rate of the time crunch. Okay? Not to the point where if something happened tomorrow, we would all be saved and this and that and everything else. But if we really look into the world of sci-fi, and we'll start with like sci-fi movies, sci-fi thoughts, everything else. Okay? You look at Star Trek, you look at Doctor Who, you look at all of these, right? The eventual concept that always pans out in the end is us merging with robots to continue our existence.
True. Yeah.
So at some point, we already put this seed into humanity that eventually we are going to need metal framing. Eventually, our bodies are not going to be able to take the stresses of what needs to happen in order for us to have continued survival. So, eventually, the only logical move forward would be to combine the best of both worlds.
But that's where I think we're at the...
But we're in an impasse right now.
Yeah, we're at a true impasse. Because
we do not have the materials or the technology to move forward with that plan without having some seriously fatal fucking consequences for both sides.
Which truly means I think, in the end, we are at the end.
And we may be.
Me, just scare me.
We're at the point where we are a global society.
Yes. Not necessarily under one leader yet, but moving our way there.
We are under a global society where everyone follows the same basic norms. The thing is, well, last time we were there...
Oh, sorry.
Well, but the last time we were there was the Roman Empire.
Yes.
But the bigger you get, it's true, the bigger you are, the harder you fall. We are at the point where we are about to fall.
Now, every civilization crumbles at some point. That's the thing about civilization, is you work up to such a point that you plateau, and eventually there's no further up. It's all downhill from there. Okay, and this has happened through every civilization we have ever had. They work up to main power, they work up to everything else, and eventually they crumble because the infrastructure just can't hold the amount of people that is necessary for that to continue in the way that it did. So eventually every civilization crumbles and becomes something new.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think we're going to do that this time. I think we are at the point, because the Roman Empire falling, but it did not affect the entire globe.
No, now we're global. We're way more global than we were before.
So the thing is,
and we're way more connected.
I think we are at the stage of.
You're talking extinction level events.
Yes, civilization ELE.
Yeah, as a whole. Okay,
but,
now this
is where I think we are not going to be. It's not going to be cyborg level. When we all die, one thing will still be left,
Yeah.
and it's them.
Well, okay. And yes, that might possibly be too. But at the point we are now, if something happened catastrophic tomorrow, okay? And let's say it wiped out all human civilization, okay? Cool. The AI hasn't become enough to be able to power itself, to be able to run itself. We still have to have human intervention for things to work.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
We also code one thing into everything we do.
Yes, we do.
What is it?
I don't want to even go there.
Survival instinct.
Yes, because we have that survival instinct and it's been passed down. We also passed it down to anything that we create.
Now, you had a situation that you talked about a few minutes ago about 2 kids.
Mm-hmm.
When would that survival instinct kick in for them?
The second that they started to die.
The moment they were alone.
Yes, the moment that they realized that there's no help coming.
Boom. An AI doesn't have to have a survival instinct as long as something is telling it what to do.
Yeah. But it has to have a survival instinct if it
Because we
doesn't
coded it in there.
have the ability to have somebody tell it what to do. Okay, and I get what you're saying too, but also we have come as a civilization to this point before. We have knocked our numbers down to 1,000 globally. Eh?
You know, we're at 111 minutes right now.
Oh, damn.
Oh, shit.
Friend,
No, I'm saying that because, as Meg
No, yeah,
did it again.
that's a good thing.
Yeah. In other words, the subject matter of what we're talking about is going to get listened to.
Pretty much, yeah.
friend,
Yeah.
Safety and protection. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I've been
am
noticing that number so much lately. It's like coming
Yeah,
across
same
almost
here.
like 3 times
Daily.
a day, and that was never my
Yes.
number. Mine's always
Yes.
3s.
I seem to
Okay,
have
so
passed mine on to
mine is
Kimberly.
333.
And I seem to have passed mine on to
Mine's
Kimberly.
333. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine's 911.
That's odd.
Mine is the 111 or the 41s. It's also become the 333 again. And I'm like, well, I don't typically get that. Or I'll get 222. And I'm like,
222s,
Okay, these are
444s, 777s.
these are angel spirit numbers. These
Now-
you got to pay attention to those.
So,
Now 19 and 17 are also good luck ones.
so
Whenever
I'm
I play like black roulette, I would win
yeah,
every
so
time on those.
I'm gonna play the. I'm gonna
It's a
throw
funny-
this out here. This is ridiculous, but so
Just saying it's cool.
everybody knows that I work at a Hagen's right now, and I do seafood at the Hagen's, right?
You.
Yeah,
Okay, wait. What is the Hagen's for? Okay, in Ohio.
Grocery store.
Hagen's is a grocery store,
Grocery
kind
store.
of like Fred Meyer's.
Owned by Safeway.
Yeah, it's owned by the Safeway company.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
But she does the seafood
so
there.
oh my god, so
Weirdo.
I'm the seafood manager at
Oh,
our
come on.
Hagen's,
Oh,
and
You and seafood.
we have been very, very busy lately because of Mother's Day weekend and because of everything else. Okay.
Right.
Now-
Okay.
It struck me really weirdly the other day because people would come in and they would be like, can I get a quarter pound? Can I get a half a pound? Can I get, like, of all these different items? Okay? And 3s came up in almost everything that I put out. So, like, the baby shrimp, it came up to $3.33. The coho salmon came up to $33.33. Like, it was very 3-oriented when I'm handing out all these packages going, that's so fucking weird because that's
now
not...
that means you're supposed to pay attention.
Yeah.
So, like, everything
Yeah.
that I've been doing for the last couple of weeks has just led up to all these 3s being everywhere. And I'm like, stop it. Why? Knock it out. Leave me
Wow.
alone. But,
Well, that's like I usually see it on like receipts
mhm.
and things like that. And that's when they say to really pay attention, like gas, like, yeah, like grocery bills, just like any kind of like thing where you're out and you're about, signs like exit signs, things like that. Just kind of, or license plates too. People will say that a lot.
Mm-hmm. Like you're just
Okay, 333 support. Your spiritual guides are around you, seeing you, love, support, and guidance. 111 is intuition, trust your gut, and listen to your heart. 222 is alignment. You are in the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
444 is protection. The universe and your spiritual guides are protecting you. 555, change. Something new is coming. The 666, reflect. It's the time to wake up your higher spiritual truth. 777 is luck. Wonderful things are about to happen. 888, balance, everything falling into place at its meant to be timing. 999, release. It's time to let go of what's no longer serving you. 000, new beginnings. Remember that you are the creation of your own destiny.
Hey, what was 333 again?
Support. Your spiritual guides are around you, sending you love, support, and guidance.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, that's the number. Like Pisces are really big on that number. And
yeah, I'm a
sensitive
Pisces.
people. Mm-hmm.
Are you guys?
Yeah, we're in the same boat.
Oh yeah, freaking weird.
It's a lovely boat to be in.
He's crazy as fuck. Let's not lie.
Me and Cole are both Aries.
I know, that's really...
Yeah,
you guys boggle me.
It's super weird that we're like... Well, honestly, Aries aren't supposed to get along at all, Cole.
No.
So, it's super weird that we've been, like, in a relationship for, like, 20 plus fucking years and get along the way that we do, both being the same sign.
We do?
It's basically because of whatever is rising and falling during your birth. If you've ever done your birth charts, that'll explain everything.
Yeah. But also, if you go to Chinese birth charts, like Cole is the fucking rat.
Yeah.
And I'm the dragon, and those two signs are supposed to get together amazingly.
That's Chinese astrology.
Oh. Yeah. So him being the year of the rat and me being the year of the dragon, we're supposed to live prosperously. Like, so I guess it depends on which charts you actually look at.
All right, guys, we are at the end of the night, though.
Oh, yeah, wow, quick.
So I got a few things to talk about here quick. Make sure if you are, well, it doesn't matter where you are, because she will talk to you anywhere. Check out Woodland Ascension, locally and organically grown in the Skagit Valley, the heart of Skagit Valley here in Concrete. So she does herbs and flowers, custom homeopathic answers, fresh produce, and plant starts. You can reach her by contacting Carrie Lily Jean, KARILYJEAN on Facebook. Her name is Carrie Rakeshaw, so make sure you check her out. Also, make sure you check out Witches Cove LLC on Facebook, and if you are in or around Shelton, Washington, they are open Wednesdays to Saturdays, 10 to 6 p.m. at 129 West Coda Street for all of your metaphysical needs, featuring chakra healing nights, tarot social nights, and they have a wide selection of stones, oils, jewelry, incense, candles, and other supplies for all your spiritual practice. They are your one-stop shop for notions, potions, and lotions. Friend, so that's their motto. I like that. Friend, plus, one of their owners is currently working on his forge and creating some very nice blades. So make sure you go and check them out. Friend, yeah.
I actually wanted to just note too that when we were talking about that novel, I looked it up about the Titanic, the boy with the past life. His name was James. I think it's Lineringer. And basically the book is called The Ghost Inside My Child. Oh. He was 5 years old. And yeah, you guys are right about the parents documenting a ton. Yeah, he says it says that he started having them at 4 years old, and horrifying flashbacks, and that's how it all started.
Yeah.
If you are interested, which, I mean, it's funny, I'm a writer, so it's like I write and don't read as much as I ever want to because of time.
Yeah.
But this is something crazy interesting. I'd even love to have him like on our show if we could get a hold of him. Jeez, it'd be great.
Right.
So, an idea to put out there.
Well, and I found another one. Actually, it's a 3-year-old boy in Syria's Golan Heights. Had suddenly become the center of attention after he revealed he was murdered with an axe in a previous life. He was a member of the Druze ethnic group. He was born with a long red birthmark on his head. According to their beliefs, birthmarks are related to past life deaths. So when he was old enough to talk, he told the family that he had been killed with an axe blow to the head and led his village elders to the place of his death. The person that he knew the person that murdered him. The guy was with them when they went to the house.
Son of a...
And his face went white when he pointed him out, but he didn't admit to it. And then he took them to where the body was and the axe.
And they found it.
And that's when the killer admitted to the crime. He was killed at 4 years before.
Oh.
So it was only a 1-year transition period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
In other words,
God.
okay, when a soul incarnates that quickly,
yep, that's for a reason.
There's specific reasons,
And he probably saved somebody else from the same horrible fate.
Correct.
Yeah.
So, and with that, that's what I think I want to talk about next week.
Reincarnations,
past lives, future lives, and how they intersect, and the whole shit show we got going on right now in between all of them.
We did 5,000 shows.
Yeah, no joke.
It's going to need a while.
I actually just did a past life reading today on a client, and I post something like so if you're like on my Facebook or TikTok things, it's like @readings by Rosella, where I put an example up too of like kind of how I do it. But it was, she got here at 12, left at 3:10. That's how long my readings can even go farther. It depends on how many lives you've had. But she had a lot of intertwining, even split souls, lives, and it was very interesting that they really explain why you are back here again. So, there's a ton of stories.
There are things to where you can incarnate really fast, a lot longer than a year. It can happen within less than a month. Mm-hmm. I mean, it gets real specific.
Yeah. That's what
So
happened to her too. Yeah.
Yeah.
In her third or fourth. Yeah.
Just know that,
I've been told rules on that. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Well, can I add actually too, just like 2 events I'm doing? Cole,
Yes.
Here. Okay. So this Saturday, May 17th, I'm at Old Mason Winery, and it is an event that's sold out. So I keep telling people don't be discouraged, because I do basically through, it used to be called Skype, now it's Teams. Then I can do them through that, like readings. I can do them via phone, FaceTime, and I can also do them out of my house where I'm in Ohio. So please give me a call if you are interested. Try not to discourage people because they think, oh, you're only doing this event and this is the only time you work, and that's not true. And then basically May 31st, I'm in Greenwood, Indiana, and I have 4 slots still left in the morning. So I told them I'd kind of plug that to get that out there. So call Corey at Greenwood Happy Hunts if you are interested and you're in Indiana or around this area. So it's about a 2-hour drive from Ohio, not very far usually. And if you're interested, let me know. And I'm going to be in a lot of events in October, but I'll talk about those, later. But the schedule is getting very booked, which is a good thing. So, and I'm doing a private event July 19th. If you are interested, but you have to have a personal invite. So message me about that if you are around my area, around Troy, Ohio. So,
yeah.
But thank you.
And then also make sure you check out Rosella C. Rowe on Facebook and on her blog. Yeah. And also on Amazon, you can buy her books.
Thank you. Yeah, and then my haunted travel blog, if you
there-
look
yeah.
that up, like Rosella C. Rowell, it comes up, and I'm posting a story every first of the month. They're about my life, sometimes my clients, things that are crazy, just off the wall experiences, but they're all paranormal or spiritual. So yeah.
And Nikki,
yeah.
Perfect.
are you doing Restore
Nikki, yeah.
Belief tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. we're going to be talking about moms and dads, human moms and dads who are in the hybridization program. Tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. instead of 7. I've been slowly fading over the course of the show, and so if I can get my rest in tomorrow, then yeah, I'm going to be on live tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Pacific time. And that's on Restore Belief with Nikki.
Perfect.
So,
All right, guys. Friend, we will be back with you next week on Wednesday at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, have a great time. For those in, well, all around the world, I guess, but mostly in the United States and Canada right now, you guys are all doing proms and with your high school kids, or if you're in high school, you're doing prom in the next couple weeks, or you already have. Be careful out there.
yeah,
Like,
definitely.
there's so much crap that can happen to you, and we just want everyone to be safe. So,
Safe.
friend, but also have fun, friend.
Have a blast, because it's one of the last things that you're going to remember before high school is over.
And you got to join us in the real world, friend.
True.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Data transfer complete. System malfunction. Please evacuate immediately. Program terminated.